And now, for the week of August 7th, Adobe Photoshop TV is on the air.
Welcome to Adobe Photoshop TV from the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And here's your hosts, the Photoshop guys, Scott Kelby, Dave Cross, and Matt Klaskowski.
Welcome to another polygonal episode of Adobe Photoshop TV, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, or what we like to call NAP. They are the fine people who bring you this magazine right here, Photoshop User Magazine. The people behind this quality presentation. Welcome, everybody.
This week's episode is brought to you in part by Strata, Fotilia, DLO, CDW, Logitech, and iStock Photo.
.com.
I think it's Fotolia.
Fotolia. Oh, good. See, Matt went to the class on how to.
Well, no, I learned this. You weren't here at the last show. I learned it then. So.
Hey, well, welcome everybody. My name is Scott Kelby, and we are back here. The three Photoshop guys are together after like 6 weeks of being apart. So I'm Scott Kelby, and right beside me, representing Ottawa, Canada, Mr. Dave Cross.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you again.
And to my right, rocking the house-key, it's Matt Klaskowski.
Welcome back, everybody.
Well, as you can see, it's been a while since we've all been together, and we've been drinking. So, no, we have not been drinking. It's just drugs. So, no, it's not drugs. It's prescription medication, and there is a difference. So, we have got a fine show for you today. It's not a very good show, but it is a show, and that's what's important. We've got tips, we've got tricks, we've got tutorials, we have contests, we have games, we have news, all packed into one 375 megabyte download. No, hey, for those of you who had crazy download problems last week, we had a crazy download problem on our end, but we have totally fixed it, and it's better now.
Things are better now.
Things are much better. How much better are they?
Marginally.
No, it's tremendously better. Hey, Matt, you brought a tip for us, right?
I did. It's a marginal tip.
Let's start as quick as we can. Go do a tip.
All right. Well, I don't know who said it, but someday, someplace, somehow, somebody said a quote that the eyes are the key to the soul. Now, that may be true. That may not be true.
That was Frank Lloyd Wright, wasn't it?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But it makes a lot of sense. And when you're working with digital photography and portraits, it really makes a lot of sense. So what I've got here is a photo. Now, here's the trick. You've got to start this on a good photo, because one of the things is if you've got a bad photo, it's hard to really make that photo look good. So you want to start out with a good photo first, and then you can, as Scott Kelby likes to say, you can make it great in Photoshop. So what we're going to do here is work on the eyes. Very first thing I'll do is grab my lasso tool, and I'm going to select an eyebrow, hold down the shift key, and just draw a large selection around another one.
Excuse me, Matt, could you use the polygonal lasso tool if you wanted to in that case?
I could use the polygonal lasso tool.
Okay, just wondering.
So you guys might wonder why we're saying that, and I'm not going to tell you just yet.
That's later in the show. A big surprise. I can't wait.
All right, so let's put that selection onto its own layer by pressing Control-J on the PC, Command-J on the Mac. And then we're going to change the blend mode to multiply. So now we're done with the eyebrows.
I got to tell you, that doesn't look very
Now
good.
let's work on the, no, I'm kidding. We're not done with the eyebrows. Let's hold down the Alt key, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon. And that adds a layer mask filled with black. And what we'll do is take your brush tool here, go select one of your soft edge brushes from the brush picker, and then just start painting over the eyebrows with white on the layer mask. And I know it's too dark, but we'll take care of that in a second. Now, it is too dark. Drop the opacity down to about 30% here. And then if you happen to go over any areas, we'll zoom in here. If you happen to go over any areas that you didn't want to, just swap your colors with the X key back to black and just paint them away. So now you can see, we'll do a quick before and after. That's before, and that's after. So now we've got the eyebrows that are just a little bit darker. Now let's work on the eyelashes. Zoom in here. We're going to really need to zoom in. I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to select my brush tool again, and at the very top of the brush picker here is a 1 pixel brush. I'm going to use that. Press D to get your foreground to black, and just start tracing some of the eyelashes here. And what we're going to do is darken and thicken. I'm just going to trace, go along the top here. And then when you get done tracing them, you can even go in and add a few of your own if you want to thicken it up a little bit. What are you laughing at?
You can add a few of your own.
Well,
I
it
like
helps.
that. I like that.
Mascara. It's, don't you use it?
I just borrowed Dave.
Oh, gosh. All right, and work on the other eye here. So let's get this one taken care of. And when I say add your own, you don't want to go add some stray eyelashes over here. What you want to do is just to thicken it up and maybe add one in between where there's two others. Okay, so as I finish it, let's take a look here, and it's way too dark, so we're going to hit it with a Gaussian blur. Anything that we try to do realistic tends to need a little bit of blurring, but since we used a 1 pixel brush here, we don't want to do it with a large blur, 0.3 pixels. And then I will drop the layer blend mode, and we'll take that down to soft light and maybe drop the opacity just down about 90%. So now let's take a look at the eyelashes. That's before, that's after. Very subtle,
Those
but
are
it makes it
lustrous now.
very, very. Last thing we want to do is enhance the color a bit. So I'm just going to grab my lasso again and create one selection, hold down the Shift key, create another one, Control J, put it on its own layer, and let's zoom into one of the eyes here. First thing I'll do is grab the burn tool. If I can find it, there we go. Grab your burn tool and see the outlines right inside the eye, right here, the color, right on the outside of the color area. Just click with the burn tool and just make them a little bit darker. Paint over them a couple of times, makes it a little bit darker, and do the same thing over here. There we go. Now, one more thing, and that says we need to work on the color. The way I'm going to do that, grab my eyedropper, I'm going to sample a color, go to my color picker here, and click on saturation, the little S, and just bump up the saturation of the color. Create a new layer on top of it. We're almost done. Create a new layer on top of it, and it's going to look bad at first. Again, we will fix this. Paint in that color right on top of the eye here.
Leave it like that.
No, that looks good.
Yeah, I like that. Paint in the color of the eye right up here. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. And, oh, I happened to move. I used my move tool. Here, let's do it one more time. Paint that one. And then magically change your blend mode to
Magically change it, by the way.
color. And drop the opacity, again, down to about 60% for this one. Let me I got a little bit of color right on the outside here. But now if we look at it before and after, we have a lot more color to the eye. So now let's look at the final before and after image. So this is before I started anything, and this is after. So
Hey,
you can
very
see
nice.
very subtle changes, but the important part is be subtle, but it makes a large difference in the end. And I think the eyes are truly the key.
Key to the soul. Very nice, Mr. Klonskowski. Hey, very nicely done.
Thank
Seriously.
you, thank you.
You know what was nice about it? How subtle it was. It's,
Very-
when you're touching, you're supposed to make people look their very best. You're not supposed to look totally artificial.
Fake, yes.
So, very good. All right. Hey, last week I was out in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Santa Fe workshops. It was just an incredible experience. I was teaching a week-long class called Photoshop and the Bridge for Photographers. And while I was there, of course, we're on the road, we like to, as Dave did last week, from the parking lot of Tim Hortons, we like to give you a little shot from the road. So I did a little quick look around. I'll let you see what the class I was teaching. I had some really great students and great photographers, and it was an absolutely a wonderful week. Here's a quick look at the Santa Fe workshops and a little bit about behind the scenes stuff there. Take a look. Well, hi everybody. We're here in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Santa Fe workshops. I've been teaching a week-long class called Photoshop and the Bridge for Photographers, and this is the digital lab, and as you can see, we have a room full of photographers. We've been doing photo shoots all week long. We've been getting up as early as 5:45 a.m. in the morning to do some shoots, and then we come in here, we're here all day long printing. We've just been having a blast. And these are my students here. Can you guys show some of your work? And have them just hold up some of the work real quick. Very cool. We've been working on like camera raw and sharpening and every little trick in the book to finish our images, not to fix them. So we've had a really great week. Had lots and lots of fun. This is an incredible facility. So I'm going to give you a little look around some of the rest of the facility. All right, there's the sign welcoming you in, and right beside the sign is my lab assistant, Joel.
I got Joel to do a million things for me this week, including modeling for my new book. He did a couple of things, and he's about to do his blue steel look. Here he goes. Watch. You want me to do my blue steel? Yes, here he goes. Blue steel. Excellent. Okay, here's the lab where I spent my week, and these are some of my students. That's Marvin right there. Really great guy. And I just had a great week. Look at the setups you've got. Basically, you've got these huge widescreen displays. Everybody's got a totally maxed out computer with tons of RAM, tons of everything, and my favorite printer, the Epson R2400 inkjet printer. And we're just kind of cruising through the class here. You can see there's Janine and there's Larry. Hi, Larry. How you doing, buddy? And this is Joel's doing some camera work here. He's doing the right behind there's Diana. Hi, Diana. There she is right there. And basically, we're processing in this lab, and in the very back of the room, I sit in the back. There's Peggy. Hi, Peggy. They're sitting in the back. Dave, what's up, dude? And here's Marvin again. There's my buddy Marvin. Here's Joe. Hey, Joe. There's Bob. And then down there's Karen and Steve. And in the back, you can't see, but off the screen there is Jack and Stan. But you can see there's a big screen in the front of the room. I actually sit in the back of the room, and I've got a bird's eye view of everybody's screen, so I can make sure that the whole class, we're all moving together, we're doing the right things, and they can see what I'm doing on my screen up front. And I've got a microphone, so even though it's a small room, there's Steve and Karen right there. That's Steve, and I usually sit right behind Steve, but if you can see it in a moment, there's Janine. You'll see me, there I am, in front of the class, and you're about to see a really cool drop shadow effect. Watch as I move in front of the screen. There it is. You can actually see my shadow on the screen. It's a kind of a drop shadow thing. So anyway, there's the class we're cruising around now. Right down the hall, there's a whole nother class. There's actually 4 classes going on this week. This is a class where they shoot like studio. They teach studio lighting and portraiture and things like that. And just the day before, they did all kinds of different setups here. Here we are just right out in front of the school, and it's actually held on this like Catholic retreat. So part of it is a Catholic retreat. Oh, there's the Silvermans. That was Neil and Susan Silverman, some of the instructors teaching a stock photography and travel photo class, and this is the church that's on the premises right there. Here's some of the administrative offices, and right down the hallway, they have the coolest store. And why is this store so cool? Well, here's one of the reasons why. Look, they sell my books. You gotta love that. And look at this, it's a museum, see? And in the museum, there's film behind glass. People can say, look, that's what people used to use in photography. Okay, they actually sell it because they figure by within 4 or 5 years, they'll sell all that film. And then here's some really great books. They have all kinds of books, shirts, hats, cool stuff. And Nikon, of course, is one of the sponsors of the school. They got every kind of Nikon lens and camera bodies, everything you'd want, and then digital film. One of the cool things about this place is everywhere you turn is amazing photography. Here's some posters from other instructors. There's John Paul's poster there of his amazing work. And you cruise down the hallways, and it's just everywhere you look, you're inspired. It just makes you want to go out and shoot just the incredible stuff that they got going. Anyway, it's just a wonderful environment for teaching. It's a wonderful environment for learning. They got classes all year long, and I'm going to teach there again next year, and I absolutely can't wait.
Well, that was very cool. I had the pleasure of teaching in Santa Fe workshops myself last year. It's a great place. Now, this is the first time you've done that kind of full week
Yeah,
thing,
it was the first time I've done a 5-day full workshop. In fact, it was the first time I'd done a 4-day workshop or a 3-day workshop or a 2-day workshop. I've done about 130,000 one-day workshop. Well, even at Photoshop World, I teach 1 hour. It's I have like 1 class a day or 2 classes a day sometimes over a 3-day period. But this was like from morning till night, and my students were freaks. They would want to start. We were doing photo shoots at 5:45 a.m. in the morning, and at 10:30 at night, I'm pulling them out of the lab. It was just great.
That's dedication.
It was. These were some serious people. We had an absolute blast. It was one of the most honestly most rewarding and enriching experiences of my Photoshop career. I really had a great time, and I'm already planning to go back next year. I'm working with them right now on the dates to do it again next year. So it's going to something I hope to do more of.
Hey, I'm going there in February.
And Matt's going there in February.
So go visit Santa Fe Workshops.
Yeah.
To check out.
What is it? sfworkshops.org, right?
Yeah, we'll put
.com.
We'll hopefully put the link down here.
We'll put the link right on the website and on the bottom of the screen. See right now, here it is. Watch. Here's the link right there.
Just ask for it.
Just ask for it and it appears. It's amazing. All right, Dave Cross, you've got something for us.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I
don't really have a tip,
I don't have
do
a
you?
tip to show you because when I was in Canada, well, if you saw the show last week, you saw my little report from Canada. Well, I actually did a second one, but the Pony Express apparently that I sent it on just finally worked its way down to Florida. Wow. So go ahead and take a look at my second report, little tip from Canada. Oh. Hi, sorry. I've got my Canada poncho in case it starts raining here on vacations. You have to be prepared. But even though I'm on holiday, I thought I would still do a little tutorial. Just a quick little tip for you about this wonderful thing called color range. Now, last week I showed one thing about it. I'm going to show another quick little way to use it right now. Well, you'll remember last week. If you didn't see last week's show, run and watch it now. I'll wait. No, I won't. But you can watch it and find out. But basically, we're talking about this command called color range and how you can pick on different things. Let's put this back the way it normally would look probably the first time you click. So you click on a color and then can move this fuzziness range along. What we're going to do is see how we can use it to make multiple areas of a selection. Last time I showed you how to take away parts of a selection using color range. This time I'm going to do the opposite to get kind of a nifty special effect. So I'm going to click on the black of her dress to say that's what I want to select as the darker areas of this image. I'm moving the slider up a little bit, and you can see a little bit here in the preview. Now, last time I used the preview option called Quick Mask, which is fine. It sort of gives you a rough idea, but for some instances you might want to actually change to one of these other ones like White Matte or Black Matte. And this is giving me a much better indication. I can clearly see the areas that I'm selecting are quite obvious here. So I'm going to click OK, hold down the Shift key. Anytime I hold down the Shift key again, it adds to the existing selection. So if I now go back to color range, now I'm going to be adding to it. Now I can't see it obviously because I'm in the selection preview white matte. I can turn it off, but I know that the color that I want is the blue in the water over here. So I'm going to click on that to pick up that. And now the preview is a little bit misleading because I still have the black. I'm just adding in this area. So in some cases, again, you may want to go back to the Quick Mask to get a better idea of what you're going to get. But sometimes, honestly, it comes down to once you think you've got it right, well, click OK and see what you get. Now, it's a little hard to tell at this point because of the crazy nature of my selection. So let's do this. We're going to turn this into kind of, hopefully, a little special effect. Command or Control J to duplicate the layer. I want to add a new layer below, so I'm going to hold down the Command or Control key and click on that new layer button. Now, because when I clicked with the eyedropper that second time in color range, it's actually already picked up that color as the foreground color. But just in case you didn't want that one, you wanted a specifically slightly different color, you could click on whatever color it was you wanted. We'll just go with this kind of light blue and fill this layer. I'm going to press Option Delete on the Mac or Alt Backspace, and I've got a pretty interesting special effect starting to happen. Not quite what I had in mind, but hey, let's experiment a step further. What if we were to fill that with black? Interesting. So here's what I'm going to probably end up doing. Selecting these layers. This is Photoshop CS2, so I can just press Command or Control G to put them in a group. So now I can start to lower the opacity and let part of the original background layer show through. Kind of a nifty special effect, but again, the real point is to how you can use color range repeatedly as long as you hold down the Shift key to add more and more to your selection. So there you go. There you go. My last tutorial from my vacation in Canada. Hope you enjoyed that little tip, and I'll see you back in the studio. Back to you guys.
All right, Dave, thank you for that international flavor that you're bringing to the reporting from other countries. It's a flavor thing. All right, hey, we're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with lots more tips, tutorials, of course, the contest, lots more right here on Adobe Photoshop TV.
HomeDoc Deluxe, the essential entertainment center for the iPod. Enjoy all of your music, pictures, and video right on your TV and home stereo system. HomeDoc Deluxe is the only iPod dock with on-TV navigation of your iPod's music. Nothing is better than browsing your tunes on your TV with remote in hand. The 18-button remote and on-TV navigation of your music makes the HomeDoc Deluxe the only choice for your living room. DLO HomeDoc Deluxe, where your iPod lives at home.
We are back. I'm Scott Kelby. Joining me, of course, Dave Cross.
Hello.
And Matt Glaskowski.
Still here.
He's still rocking the house key. Well, hey, we have all kinds of cool stuff coming up. Before we do, I mentioned in the last little segment about Dave's report from last week from Canada. If you missed that or any back episode, you can watch back episodes of Photoshop TV by going to photoshoptv.com. There's a little back episodes link. Back episodes are $1.99 a piece, so it's a 30 to 40-minute show for $1.99. If you are an NAPP member, a member of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, the fine people, if you're one of those people and you know who you are, you can go to the NAP member website and watch all the back episodes for free because we care. All right, so there's a little insight on the back episodes.
Yes.
Now, I brought a tip for you this week. And the tip is, it's a kind of a Photoshop-y, workflow-y kind of thing. I have a lot of questions about this. In fact, this was a big topic in my class last week at Santa Fe Workshops, was, you know, how do you back up your photos, at what point do you back up your photos, and what's the whole process? So I'm going to give you what my workflow is, and I'm going to give you a little option as well, because you may want to deviate from the workflow, but I'm going to kind of give you a little start first. So I brought in my camera here, and so first thing is, when you're out shooting in the field, now, if you are shooting in the field, if you're a studio photographer, this doesn't nearly matter as much, but I do mostly outdoor photography, as does Matt, and as does Dave, and as all our friends only shoot outdoor. We don't talk to people that shoot studio, no. But anyway, if you're shooting outdoor in the field, I highly recommend that while you're shooting out in the field, you back up. And my basic workflow is this. I'm an outdoor photographer. I get up really, really early in the morning. In fact, it's the only time I ever get up early in the morning is to shoot at sunrise. So basically, we shoot in the morning. As soon as I fill up a card, here's what I do. I pop it out of the camera, which we're going to do right now. Pop it out of the camera.
Look at that.
And then what you do is you just put it in any pocket. No. Actually, here's what I carry. I carry an Epson P4000. Now, I have the P2000 and the P4000. It's this little baby right here. And what it is a hard drive, but it also has a huge LED screen on it. So this is what I do. I just take the card, I turn on the Epson P4000. See, it's turning on. Here, I'll go to the camera that actually shows things close. It's turning on. I'm actually going to take the card and put it in here. It works better if you put it in the right way, I found. I don't know why. But basically, it comes in, and you're just going to hit backup. You're going to hit copy data from memory card. What it's going to do, it's going to back up your images onto this card. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and now it is copying those images onto my card. I'm waiting for the little status bar to come up that says, yes, you are. Yes, it is. So right now, it's copying these images to my card. I instantly have a backup, and let me tell you why this is so important. It's because sometimes, not all the time, cards go bad. I mean, am I tipping this right? I'm getting, all my producers are like yelling at me, tip it this way. Is this the way you want me to tip it? Or, see, this doesn't mean anything to me. This is just like, hi, Scott. So, tip it. One of these ways will be right.
Not that way.
It's not that way.
They're going to hold thumbs
See,
up.
they're watching. There we go.
They got the OK sign.
It's copying. Okay.
So how long would it take to, if you did, like 50, 100 shots?
Okay, like this is a 12 megapixel camera. Honestly,
Yeah, 3 hours.
three hours. No, it takes a while. I'll tell you, this is my honest to God workflow. I'm out in the field. I've shot my morning shots. I pop it on this card, and I take this. I put it back in the case. All right. While it's copying, it's still copying live, and I put this case in my camera bag, and then I drive to breakfast.
Yep.
I go to the breakfast place, and then the cool thing is when I get at the breakfast place, well, everything's backed up onto it. So I have the card is one backup. The hard drive is backup number 2. But most importantly now, I can look at my photos on here and actually see if I got the shot. And the screen's big enough to where you can really tell. And it's a beautiful, crisp screen. I wish it was on the back of my camera this size. But anyway, so that's number 1. So we are now back. Okay, so we're back. We've gotten back to our studio or back to our hotel room or wherever you're shooting. And we're going to go ahead and let's pop out the card. It's not done copying. I can't pop out the card. So, through the magic of videotape, I think what will happen, I'm just guessing, is all of a sudden this copying will be done. Hey! It's done! So, wow.
Hardly took any time at all.
All right, so
Matt.
Now we're going to pop it. We're popping it out of the Epson P2000 to 4000. Hey, I'm making a joke, but it's USB. I mean, so it's not like zooming. All right, so now
It ain't the USB, it's those 12 megapixel files that's
I
holding
got a
it
question
up.
for you. Why am I putting this back in the camera? I do not know.
That's an interesting
Here,
workflow.
We're going to put it into a card reader. Yes. Now, I do recommend if you're saying if part of your workflow takes you forever to get the images from your card onto your computer, it's because you probably don't have a FireWire reader. If you're using a USB card reader, there's nothing slower in the world. So spend the extra money. I've got like, what is this, a Lexar? I have to take off my glasses. Lexar Media, that's it. It's a Lexar Media card reader. It's kind of small, but very, very fast. So I'm going to plug it into my camera or to my computer, whatever this thing is that's silver.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this is a great part of it.
Do you need
All right.
help?
No, I'm good. I got to stop drinking before these episodes. Okay. So it mounts here on the desktop, and you can see it right there. All right, so here's the deal. First thing I like to do is let's go ahead and just copy these images right now onto your computer. So we're going to go ahead and copy those, and it takes, as you can see, less than
Not a minute, but less than
I
a
love
minute.
that. It's just kind of, well, it takes less than a minute. It could be 50 seconds, could be 15 seconds, but it is less than a minute. Okay, it's almost done copying. Now it's about 10 seconds. That's totally,
Which in the scale of copying is often not exactly
no,
the
it's not really.
real
About
time.
5 seconds. By about it means nowhere near. Okay, so here's the images. Now here's where I'm going to go ahead and eject the disk. All right, so now I actually have those images in 3 places. They're on my card, they're on my Epson P2000 or P4000, and now they're on my computer. Now I'm eventually going to erase the card, so I'm going to have basically 2 backups. Now, there are people that will back up right this very minute. They want the untouched, pristine originals right now, and they will pop a DVD in and back it up right then. Now, if you're going to back up to a DVD or CD, go and buy archival quality discs. Don't just go buy the cheapest discs you can buy at CompUSA. Buy good quality. Now, Delkin makes these, like they're called like, I believe that's like they're gold archival discs, and they are some of the best ones. Now, that was Delkin with a D, not Belkin, the people that make the cables. This is Delkin. Their website is delkin.com. I make those gold archival qualities. And here's another key thing. You want to make sure that when you write on them, that you write on them with an acid-free pen. They actually make pens that, because what happens is people grab a Sharpie, they write on their discs, and what happens is the acid in that eventually eats away at the disc. Well, these are your negatives. These are digital negatives. You don't want them to be destroyed. So don't write on them with a Sharpie. Get an acid-free pen and write on good quality discs. Now, you can back up right now. I don't. My workflow is actually to then take these photos and drag them to the bridge. So let's go ahead and open these photos in the bridge. And here they come now. All right, so once the images are in, I'm going to go ahead and rotate them all. Rotate them up this way. All right, and you can see the different images here. Let's just gonna shoot through them. Let me get down here to the 33. There we go. Here we go. 33 to 40. Now here they are. They're loading. And by the way, one thing I like about the bridges, you can use the up and down arrow keys in the bridge to go through the images. And one of the things I like best is actually if you can move quickly up and down like this, you can make people dance.
That's a good tip.
It's not bad.
If there's no movies on TV that night,
Yeah, you just sit here and go back and forth.
Is that what you've resorted our viewers to watching?
Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is animation. Okay, once you've got the images the way you want them, here's what I recommend doing. Go ahead and choose Batch Rename. So let's select all the photos and then choose Batch Rename, which brings up this dialog box right here. We're going to rename them in the same photo that they're in. Let's go ahead and give them a name. In this case, we're going to call this Portrait Shoot, and then put an underscore, and you'll see why the underscore is important, and that's Shift and the dash key does that. Then we're going to hit the little plus sign here. We're going to add this is the way I do it. I would add today's date. So let's go date and time, and how about today? All right, but I only want today as the month. All right, and then we're going to add another one. Now down here you see where it says first new file name. It's showing you now that this file is going to be called Portrait Shoot and then 08, the month. All right, so we're going to go here and choose, actually I'm going to go ahead and put I'm going to add text and another little underscore. So now it's Portrait Shoot underscore 08, and then I'm going to add one more date. But this time the date I'm going to add is, let's see, date. I'm going to add the today, but I want just the year. So if you take a look at my naming thing, Portrait Shoot underscore, I know it's August of 2006, and then lastly, I'm going to put in some kind of a, well, let's do another underscore, and then lastly, we're going to finish up with a sequence. So I want a sequence number, and I'm going to do 0001. Let's do 4 digits. There's no sense in typing in 4 digits and leaving it set at 3 digits, is it? So now we'll automatically number my images. Portrait Shoot August of 2006, and it's going to number them sequentially starting with 0001. This name is a lot better than the regular name, DCS0028.NF, because there's no way I'll be able to find those shots using these names. I mean, these names are very cryptic. This gives me an idea that it was a portrait shoot. I know I shot it in August of 2006. When searching for my files, it's going to help, but I always leave this on to preserve the current file name in the XMP metadata. This basically embeds the bad name into the file with the good name. Click rename and it instantly goes and renames all your files. And by instantly, I mean it does it really pretty quick. There we go. Now, this is the point at which I would back up, me personally, this is when I go and back up the DVD. Once I've got them rotated into the orientation that I want, and I've got the name in them, now I will go back to my desktop, and this is the file I will burn. I will not name the folder DCIM. I'll change the name to something more easier to understand, like DCLM. No, I would call it something, portrait shoot, August 06 or something like that. Now, this is what I burn to my DVD, right?
Well, that makes sense because you still haven't actually touched the photos themselves.
Right.
The
photos
raw data is the same.
So all I've done is basically make it easier to find when I put them on my disk. I haven't changed them. They're still the basic original raw files untouched. Now, once I burn that DVD, I'm going to put the DVD in storage in a cold, cool place. I'm going to store them vertically, not horizontally. We're going to store them vertically. And then I've got a DVD backup on archival quality discs. I've got a hard drive backup. Now, I keep two separate hard drives, one at my office and one at home that have my entire library on them. There's these big LaCie drives that hold bazillions of gigs of stuff. So I have two copies. So now I've got my DVD copy. I've got a copy at home. I've got a copy at the office. You always want to keep an off-site copy. Remember what happened in the Katrina disaster. How many people said the most important thing I lost was my photos? Mm-hmm. I can replace furniture, I can replace appliances, I can't replace my memories, I can't replace my photos. This is that important a thing that you really want to take some time and do it right. Now, in the meantime, I've got a couple of extra backups. I got a backup here. I'm a backup freak, and I've got too many backups. But you know what? You can never have enough backups. So that's as far as we're going to go today. It was basically giving you a little backup strategy, kind of a little thing. Now, you're going to work off the folder on your drive. And these images now, I can do anything I want with because I know I've got plenty of backups of the original negatives.
Very cool.
That being said, it's time to go to the Adobe Photoshop TV News Center. We're waiting there right now at this very moment is Matt Kloskowski. Let's go to Matt. What do you say, Dave?
I'd say that's a great idea.
Let's go to Matt in the News Center.
By Fotolia. If you go to fotolia.com through the PhotoshopTV.com website, you can sign up for an account with them and get 5 free credits. So it's always cool when sponsors give away stuff too. Okay, so first up this week, Steven Johnson has released a new book on digital photography, and it's actually called Steven Johnson on Digital Photography. So Steven is widely recognized as pretty much the pioneer of digital photography. So go check it out. You can find out more about him and his book over at sjphoto.com. Next up, Photoshop World Guru submission deadline is nearing. It's August 14th. First off, you got to be going to Photoshop World to enter. If you're going to Photoshop World, if you're not going to Photoshop World, sign up and go. Then submit a Guru Award. But you got to be going to Photoshop World. You can submit your images, you win cool prizes, great things, cool stuff all around, and you get recognized in front of the entire keynote. So check it out. You can go to photoshopworld.com for more info. Next, Moose Peterson, along with the NAPP, is holding a brand new workshop. It's called Going Wild. Now, it's going to be one cool weekend of all Photoshop, all digital photography, all out in the wild with Moose Peterson. It's going to be at the Northwest Wildlife Trek up in Washington. So you want to go check it out, you can go to goingwild.com. Joe McNally's going to be there. Moose Peterson will be there. I'll even be there. So go check that out again, goingwild.com. By the way, NAT members, you get $100 off of the workshop price. It's October 13th through the 16th. That's it for the news this week. Right back to Adobe Photoshop TV after a quick word from our sponsor.
Strata 3D CX. Design at a higher power. Add the power of 3D to your Adobe workflow. Link to Photoshop textures. Import Illustrator artwork. Render to layered Photoshop files. Create photoreal images. Strata 3D CX, design at a higher power. Visit strata.com.
We are back, and hey, coming up in just a few weeks is the Photoshop World Conference and Expo in Las Vegas. Las Vegas. At the Mandalay Bay Convention Center Hotel and Convention Center Resort. Fabulous, fabulous place. If you've never been to Vegas, it's incredible. If you've never been to the Mandalay Bay, it's incredible. If you've never been to Photoshop World, it's incredible. Triple threat. Boom, come and check it out.
It's incredible.
We're going to be there doing, of course, Dave's teaching sessions, Matt's teaching sessions, I'm teaching sessions, and about 39 of our friends in the Photoshop world will be there. There'll be literally thousands of Photoshop users from all over the world are coming there. And I just want to tell you about some of the pre-conference sessions, because before Photoshop World starts, the day before, we have pre-conferences, right? These are like intensive workshops. They're like half-day workshops where it's just you and an instructor. It's a smaller group of people, and they have very limited seating. A lot of them are sold out. I think we have like 16 workshops this week. 11 or 12 of them are sold out. Here's what's left. There's a few left. Believe it or not, there are still seats to spend some quality time with Matt Kloskowski. Matt has got a pre-conference called Photoshop. I'm looking right here. Photoshop 101 it's Photoshop 101, Photoshop for beginners. And it's a beginner's class. And if you're a beginner, if you've never learned from Matt, he is really, really great with beginners. He yells at you a lot. He's a lot of screaming, like, idiot,
very,
idiot.
very abusive.
He does a lot of that. But at the end
camp.
of the day, it's like a boot camp. At the end of the day, you know your stuff. No, it's nothing like that. But anyway, so Matt's got one. There's also one called the Digital Photography Workshop. And it is a workflow. It's workflow, whole workflow thing for digital photographers. If you're a professional digital photographer or a serious digital photographer and you want to work really, really fast, you don't want to get bogged down in your workflow, that's still available. There is one called Sweet Synergy. It wins the award for pre-conference with the worst name. Now, the Sweet Synergy pre-conference is actually taught by Deke McClelland. So I think that people think, well, what is Sweet Synergy? It's how to use all of the Creative Suite products together to work faster and more better and more gooder.
But it's by Deke.
But it's by Deke. So
and anything by Deke is good.
Anything by Deke is good. Deke's hilarious. So you'll have a great time. You'll learn a lot. He's a brilliant teacher. Also, we've got another one called Photoshop Mondo Media Mania. Who could teach?
I wonder who that might be.
Yes, it's Russell Brown, Adobe's own Photoshop madman, is doing this pre-conference. And basically, you're going to go in there, and I guess it's co-sponsored by Epson. They have all these printers, and you're going to print on every media known to man, on T-shirts, on canvas, on everything. So if you ever thought, I want to print on things more than just paper, I want to print on every other substance. He said you're going to print on plastic. You're going to print on DVDs. You're going to print actually on human bodies. So those are
Keep
still,
your hands away from the manual.
I'll be
feeder.
there.
Yeah, these will be sold out within a week or so. So make sure that if you want to go to one of those and you're going to Photoshop World already, what the heck? And it's and hotels. What's the deal?
Well, we should tell them the whole reason we're talking about this is you get a ticket to Photoshop World for the contest prize.
Oh yeah, we have a contest coming up, right? And one of the tickets is so. Where do you stay, Matt?
So
if you
where
win?
do you stay? So the reason why I'm doing this is because people have asked for this. I see it all over the forums, all over the net forums. Airfare is not really a problem. Dave's got some airfare for you, but airfare, you can get to Vegas anywhere in the world for like $250
At least
or
anywhere
less.
in the United States. You can't come from $200.
I think Dave's
from
got on
Frankfurt.
there, Detroit for like 180
Detroit
bucks.
Detroit was 120, and
Yeah.
Denver 180 on Southwest. I mean,
So-
there are definitely deals to be found.
Actually,
Nobody
it's vice
cares.
versa, isn't it? It's Denver's 120.
Denver's 120
Detroit's
is-
180,
yes, that's
'cause
right. I'm just not
it would-
reading
hey,
as
wait,
well.
wait.
Back over here.
Oh, sorry.
So we don't care about airfare because we know we can get to Vegas cheap. It's when you're in Vegas where do you stay. So I took the liberty of going online and looking for you.
Oh, can I interrupt for just 1 second?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm going to anyway. The reason why he's having to help you with hotels is the Mandalay Bay, which we blocked
Yes.
all these bazillion rooms, is sold out.
Yes.
So we sold all the hotel rooms in the Mandalay Bay. So now we're having to find other places. And you found a place called, what, Lucky 7?
Yes.
No, where you?
The Luxor, which is attached to the Mandalay Bay, you can walk, is 150 net, and these are averages because as it gets closer to Friday, they get more expensive. And I just suggest sleep in the casino on Friday night. The Luxor is an average of 150 night, Tropicana 69, Aladdin, which is a nice place, 112, Excalibur, which is connected by a tram.
By a monorail, right?
Free monorail to the Mandalay Bay is 102 a night, so jump on that. And then for the budget conscious Circus is only $53.
However, it is 29.7 miles away.
But it's just a cab ride.
And everyone that we see will be a child. However, but honestly, the best places for you to stay are right next door to the Mandalay Bay would be the Excalibur or the Luxor. They're right there.
Yep.
There's a free monorail to take you there. And they're almost like right there on the Mandalay Bay property because they're kind of owned by the same people.
Yes.
So we hope that you'll join us there. We're taping Photoshop TV live.
That's correct.
Cheap airfare, cheap hotels, cheap food, free shrimp.
Cheap instructors.
Cheap instructors. Hope to see
Careful
you
now.
guys there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited. It's on track to be the biggest Photoshop World ever in the history of Photoshop World. So
Right.
we're very
And as
excited.
Matt said, the reason we're mentioning all this is because one of the prizes we're going to give away any moment now
Dun, dun,
is a
dun.
prize. But first of all, we have to talk about last week's contest. And
Yes.
Since, Matt, you were the only one here last week, you can remind our
Larry's
viewers.
got the question. No. The question from last week was, what was the third name on the startup screen when you start Photoshop CS2?
That's a tough one to figure out.
Third name. Now, I said it before, and I don't remember what it was.
Andrew
Coven. Andrew
Coven,
Coven.
right?
So
Let me
that is
look.
the third name. That's the answer. And the winner is,
Yeah, that,
Ta-da.
congratulations,
congratulations.
to winner.
They won some stuff, right?
There is a Photoshop World ticket in there, I know for sure. So
Right.
hopefully we'll get to see them at Photoshop World. And any of you, if we see you at Photoshop World, please come up and say hi, because we like that.
Yeah.
It's
We
nice
like
to-
people.
Yeah.
People who need people are the luckiest people.
Now we got a question for this week, I hope.
Dave.
Well, let's
Quick-
first quickly, the prizes.
Prizes.
DVD, Best of Photoshop TV, featuring the first season, I guess we call it the
Yes,
first
the
season.
first season.
Yeah.
What else we have? Matt Kloskowski's wonderful Photoshop CS2 Speed Clinic book.
Wonderful.
I'm sure it will be autographed. And
Hey.
as we mentioned,
I'll
pass to
let you finish.
Photoshop World, right?
Okay,
A
so
full conference pass?
we didn't plan this, and I know we're on track for our award-winning 3-hour episode, but I'm not just going to give my book away. Look at this. I'm going to do a quick tip here. This comes out of the book. You're working on a layer mask. Check this out, because I kind of forgot that I had even put this in a book. You're working on the layer mask. You can Alt-click to see black and white, but who cares about that? If you Alt and you Shift-click or Option-Shift on a Mac, look at that. You see that little red overlay on there? Now you can actually visually get on here and you can paint on that layer mask. But
That is so cool.
that is the kind of thing.
sorry, you can't show
it's
tips
all
this late
about
in the
working
show. That's
fast
just
in
not-
Photoshop. So I'm not just going to give away a copy, but I'll give away something.
He
else
just
in
breaks
there.
the rules all the
Wow,
time.
look at that. So
29
even if,
seconds.
Even if you don't win, you got an extra 29-second tip.
Yes.
So it's got to be worth something.
Okay. Can we have a question now?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. They also get a NAP membership too. We're also
Wow.
giving away a NAP membership. So remember where
Amazing.
you are in the world. So
Awesome. All right, well, this week's question is a little harder than what's the third name on a screen that
Yeah,
pops up
nice.
automatically.
Hey.
I'm going to make you work a little bit, and somewhere in Photoshop there is an option called clumped, believe it or not, and you tell me where that, or tell us where that is.
The new dialogue.
Yes, that's exactly it, when you want to clump your images together. No, that's not.
it's Gaussian blur.
No.
Okay.
So go to
Fred.
photoshoptv.com and look for the enter here, and just ignore them and tell you to enter the contest once only, and good luck.
All right. Well, now, before we end this episode, every week, we like to give you 3 different projects to do between now and next week's show, so you're not bored to tears because, of course, you have nothing else to do with your life to watch this show. That's
They're
not
not
why
gonna be watching
That's not
anymore
why we
after
give you
this.
these 3 things. But after this show, I'm sure this will be your last one. Anyway, here we go. We've got 3 things. My first thing is I want you to go to thesilvermansphotography.com. Now, the Silvermans are Neil and Susan Silverman, and they do photo workshops all across the country. While I was out at Santa Fe, they were teaching in one of the other classrooms right there at the Santa Fe workshops. And I got up one morning with them and went with their students to do a photo shoot. So I was just kind of there shooting as a guest. And I got to tell you, I was amazed at how hard the Silvermans work to teach their students photography. I mean, they weren't shooting themselves. They were basically walking around and making sure that their students had every opportunity to get the shot. These people work at a level of interaction that was just honestly, and you went on a workshop with the
Can I say,
Silvermans.
Neil and Susan Silverman, nicest people in the world, but let me say something. If you don't want to take photos, don't go
Yeah,
on that
you will
workshop,
take
because
photos,
Neil will have you
absolutely.
taking photos like crazy. That's what he is about, and he translates his passion for it to you. So
Yeah, he does.
If
So
you don't
go-
want to take photos for 3 or 4 days straight, don't go.
Yeah. So, but if you love photography and you want to learn from some people that really love it as much as you do, go to thesilvermansphotography.com, click on the About Us page, and you'll see a list of the workshops that they have coming for the next part of the year. I can tell you personally, I wholeheartedly recommend them. You've been on a workshop with them. You know how great it was. My brother Jeff, for those of you who know my brother Jeff, and there are at least 7 of you. No, a lot of people know my brother Jeff. He used to be the director of NAPP. Jeff went on a shoot with them and just fell in love with them. They're great people. They're really, really passionate. Go check them out.
Okay, mine is Photoshop Creative. It's our friends over across the pond in the UK.
Zoe
Photoshop
Butter,
Creative magazine. Hi to Zoe over there. But go check that magazine out. It's a great magazine. Lots of Photoshop stuff. Actually, there's going to be some interviews in there. They just did an interview with Burt Monroy, and there might be another one coming up in there. So go check it out. But just nice people, very good magazine. So
Excellent magazine. It's available, of course, in the UK and in the United States.
pshopcreative.co.uk.
That's it. Go check them out.
I'm going to suggest that you go take a look at photoshoptraining.com, which is where you can find online training course from a couple of guys sitting next to me, and coming in the not-too-distant future, myself as well. So there's a course you have a digital photography course and a layers course, and I'll have a beginner's course coming very soon.
Cool.
On photoshoptraining.com.
All right. Well, guys, that's it for this episode of Adobe Photoshop TV. On behalf of myself and Dave Cross,
Bye now.
and the only guy who rocks the house key, Matt Klauskowski. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks for watching another episode of Adobe Photoshop TV.
Thanks for watching Adobe Photoshop TV. See you next week.